Good evening. Thanks for joining. My name is Scott Schaefer. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Management here at Marietta College. And tonight is the question and answer with the theater department. And joining us is Casiha Felt, who teaches in the theater program. I'll let her quickly introduce herself, and then as questions come in, I will present them and Cass will answer them then.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cass, and I have taught in the theater department at Marietta College for about 10 years now. I'm a professor of performance mostly, so I teach acting classes. I direct musicals, I direct the straight plays. I also do a lot with voice, movement, and audition practices.
Great. So here's the first question then, Cass. What do you enjoy most about teaching and working at Marietta College?
I love that we are a small liberal arts college. It feels like I've been in educational theater my entire life, but by the time I was done with my trajectory. So I've been at big schools, I've been at small schools, and that's as a student and as a professor. And what I like about being a part of a small department is the opportunities that it gives students. When you're in a really large performance department, a lot of times you're not on stage or designing until you're an upperclassman, until you're a junior or a senior. But we really have a hands-on program that you can jump in your freshman year and be on stage, be backstage, be taking the things that you learn in class and applying them in production. And I think that that's something that you really get at a smaller program, and really strong one-on-one relationships between your professors and your students, really strong mentorship. So I get to know all of my students, and I think that is beneficial, helping them choose their education.
Okay. And another question. So how are classes going during this COVID-19 that changed things for everyone?
Well, we are, I feel, a uniquely ill-suited department for online teaching. I think there are some of our classes, I mean, a drama literature class, of course, you can still read those plays and have those discussions and write those papers. Performance classes were difficult, and we had a really short time to prepare. So luckily there are a lot of, all colleges and theater departments are going through the exact same thing. So we have all kind of banded together and found these resources online to, how are you doing this? How are we working with this? And we found some really creative ways to use Zoom and still be able to do performance assignments, still be able to interact with each other. I think that if we have to continue this, there'll be longer and bigger discussions of how to maximize teaching theater, which is such a, you need to be in the room for it, right? By definition, theater needs an audience, and they need an in-person audience. So I think there'll be continuing discussions if teaching continues in this way. But I've actually really been proud of our department of how quickly we adapted. And I think our students have been very helpful. They're so much better at this technology than we are. So they're the ones that are saying, no, you make a private YouTube channel, or you do this, right? And they teach us about the technology while we teach them about the pedagogy, so.
Okay. Someone has said they noticed that when they're looking at the degree we offer, there's the BA and the BFA within the department. What's the difference in the two degrees then coming out of our theater program?
That's a really great question. Our BFA in theater, we really designed for the student who knows that they want to go directly into the theater profession upon graduation. It is one of the few degrees on our campus, because we are a liberal arts campus, that is exempt from having a minor. And that is because it is already written to be so co-curricular, that you have to take, if you're a performance emphasis, you have to take psychology classes. If you, right, there's so much collaborative learning in our BFA that we are exempt from the minor in that way. Our BA is it's more of a generalist degree, and we really created it for the students who wanted to double major, students who are very interested in theater but also perhaps want to pursue something else. So if you're interested in double majoring in theater and English, theater and psychology, then I really look at the BA because it has less credit units and you'll be able to balance 2 degrees. We really wrote the BA to be a double major, and our BFA for our students who want to study nothing but theater.
Okay. Can I be involved in the theater program if I'm not a major or minor?
Yes, very much so. One of the benefits of a small liberal arts school, we encourage co-curricular, and we have non-majors on stage and backstage every single semester. It is very easy to be a non-major participant, and you do not need to be a major to be cast. So we really encourage that, and we thrive on it because we're a small department. I think when we're doing larger shows, big musicals, we love it when students from other departments come in, and it helps our students too to study and learn and play with students that they don't get to have classes with every single day.
Do you offer theater scholarships, and how would I go upon, I mean, these are seniors right now, but someone just is thinking about it, how would I go upon auditioning for a scholarship then?
Oh, definitely. We have fine arts talent scholarships at Marietta College, and you can get fine arts talent scholarships in theater, music, or art. We have multiple scholarships in the theater department. We have our fine arts talent scholarship in theater, and you can do that in either performance or design and tech, right? We're not only a performance-based school. If you're looking at the performance side, you would prepare 2 monologues. If you were looking at design and tech, we would have you send in something that you've done before. Normally we do those in person. Of course, with the COVID-19, we are accepting online submissions, and it is not too late to get one of these scholarships. We also have one specifically for musical theater, but our musical theater scholarship is specifically for musical theater majors, so students that are coming in majoring in musical theater. The scholarship that's just for theater can be for theater majors or non-majors. So you can be an English major and get a theater scholarship. One of the things that we ask is that you participate in theater every semester. So it's a little, we give you a scholarship, you come in and play with us. It encourages participation in the arts. How that you would then apply for one of those would be to actually just contact me directly. And because now that we're in this online submission, I'm taking all of the submissions directly to me. So that would be my email, which is cas.felt@marietta.edu. And I'm sure Scott can add that probably written out to our chat so that you can see that. You can also find both my email and more information on the scholarships on the Marietta College Theater web pages. So if you go to Marietta College Theater, it'll take you to an overview page, and from there you can click on all of our different degrees, but there will definitely be a subheading specifically for talent scholarships. You can click that, you will see all of the different requirements, and my email and phone number are right there. So that's how you would get a hold of me.
Great, great. So how does the music theater work? Is that kind of almost like you're a double major, music and theater, and how does that all work together?
That is actually one way of looking at it, because you are taking both theater and music classes. Our musical theater degree, you get trained in theater, music, and dance. We're not a strong dance school, but you definitely have dance classes throughout your curriculum if you're a musical theater student. In the music department, students are taking music theory. They are taking keyboarding skills, they have private vocal lessons, and they are part of a choral ensemble every semester. We want our musical theater students to be able to read music, to be able to sit down at a piano and plunk out an audition song. They don't need to be a concert pianist, but they do need to be able to read music and be able to read their own parts. So you are taking music classes every single semester, and that's on top of theater classes. And in your theater classes, you are taking acting classes, movement classes, voice classes, as well as history and dramatic literature and things like that. So you're really getting a balance of both theater and music classes, but it really is a blended degree. So I don't know if I would think of it as a double major, but we do ride our two departments, because you get the benefit of our amazing music teachers and our theater teachers, kind of both of those two departments in your pocket. So yeah.
Okay. What types of productions do we put on throughout the year, and what happened? The person said we know that was supposed to be, I think, Godspell this spring, and obviously that couldn't happen. So what's going on with Godspell then?
We are happy to announce, as long as things go according to, we have Plan A, and Plan B and Plan C will happen later. But Plan A, we were actually very fortunate that we did not have any graduating seniors in the cast of Godspell. So we are remounting it. We had put in so much rehearsal already. We were already 3-4 weeks of rehearsal in when this all happened. So we only had about 2 weeks to go before opening, and it just seemed like such a waste to throw away all of that work. And since our students are all coming back, we are going to be doing Godspell for 1 week in, I believe, September. I unfortunately do not have the dates right in front of me. But we will be doing Godspell for 1 weekend, so that, I think maybe 3 or 4 performances over the course of 1 weekend, to get those students the opportunity to show all of the work that they did. So we're really happy for that. The rest of our season, if it goes as planned, we have a Shakespeare, Much Ado About Nothing, right at the beginning of the school year. I believe we open also in September. And then we are planning on doing a production called Frozen Junior. And Frozen Junior will actually not star our students. Our students will be the directors, the designers, the vocal coaches, and the actors will be local high school and middle school students. So it's really a project that our musical theater students are putting on to be on the other side of the table. And then we are ending our fall season with a big, beautiful play called Miss Bennet Christmas at Pemberley that I am directing, that is a spin-off of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. In our spring, we have slated 2 big musicals, Reefer Madness and 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And then I believe there's also a big one-act festival in there. Our one-act festival is a culmination project of our directing 2 students, which also got canceled at the end of this semester. So we are switching it until next year for the students who are still around.
What types of jobs have our graduates gone on to? I mean, I know it's a little different when you graduate with a theater degree. So what have they done upon graduation?
We actually have students in so many fields, and I think that's one of the most exciting things it is for me to be a theater teacher, because I think when students come in, they have a very narrow idea of what you can do with the theater degree, and they think it's Broadway or bust. And don't get me wrong, Broadway is a wonderful goal, and we will definitely push you in that direction if that's where you want to go. But so we have alums who are professional actors. I think our most famous alum, Nick Gelfis, is on Chicago Med, but I think more of our performance alums are in the theater world. So that's in Chicago and New York and a lot of regional areas across the country performing in theater. So not really the big splashy names that you can look up, but definitely having working careers as just performing artists. But we also have many, many alums on the other side. We have a scenic painter in the Cleveland area. We have costumers and lighting designers. We have a gentleman who works on Broadway and does projections. He worked on Harry Potter and the Cursed Stone and a lot of other really big Broadway names right there, but he works in specifically projections, which is something I didn't know was a career in theater. So a lot of different things. And then there's the people who take our theater degree and maybe do things that even we weren't aware of. I have an alum. She was a costume student, and she really wanted to be a costume designer, and she is a costume designer, but she works at a living museum. They do historical reenactments, and they obviously need a costume designer to put together, and they have actors and all of these things, but it isn't exactly what she thought she would be doing, but it's exactly what she wanted to be doing, which is designing costumes for performers. Students who work on cruise ships and in the amusement park industry as performers or as backstage technicians. So a lot of different things. I think that I tell my students that you can definitely succeed with a theater degree, but you might need to broaden your idea of what success is and what exactly those jobs are and are available out there, because they are plentiful and more than the entertainment industry is not going anywhere. And I think anything this pandemic has taught us, we have all fled to Netflix and other forms of entertainment.
Okay, this is just a reminder again, attendees, if you have a question, you just type it into the question and answer box or the chat box, and then I will just present that to Cass and we can kind of go from there. So don't forget, you have that opportunity to ask some questions. Here's another one. What's the scene outside of the college with the performance area in Marietta in the city?
I mean, we're a pretty small town, so we do have our local community theaters, which are pretty thriving actually. But I think for our students, they're usually too busy during the year to help out with the community theater things. And we usually encourage them to go city bound during their summers. I don't think Marietta is a place that you can survive as a theater artist outside of an educational setting. But we do have some wonderful, I think community theaters that are performing some lovely things. We also have a beautiful roadhouse theater. So People's Bank Theater downtown is a roadhouse that brings in mostly concerts, but every once in a while we'll get a dance show or a theater event, and our backstage and tech students actually work there quite often running spotlights, and that they call us quite often and say, because we are the place in town that has trained students who know how to work backstage in a theater. So it's really neat that our students sometimes can go make a couple $100s over the weekend running a spotlight for some of their favorite bands that come into town. So we do have some entertainment in the area, but I think if you're going to make a career as an artist, you definitely need to leave the Mid-Ohio Valley. But unlike, I think, maybe 10, 15 years ago when it was only LA and New York, regional theater is strong. There is a thriving scene in Pittsburgh, which is only about 2 hours away from us. And there is a thriving scene in Cleveland and Cincinnati, which are both within state. And we have alums who support themselves solely as theater artists in Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. So while I don't think you can do it in Marietta, there's places within a couple of hours which that is very feasible.
You mentioned as you were talking, like in order to get some of these things, you have to go outside of this area. What do we do in the department to try to help students if they're looking for something over a summer as they're going home, or maybe they are going to head to New York and do this, to try to get some practical experience too in a bigger market?
An internship is actually written into all of our degrees. And so that would be the BA, the BFA, and the BA in musical theater. So all students who are graduating with a theater degree, we do require an internship. And that is part of our responsibility to work with each individual student to help find them internships. And my first thing when a student is looking for an internship is asking them where they want to go, where they want to end up, right? Some students want to know that they want to end up in New York. Some students know they want to end up in Chicago or LA. And so then we call upon our alums that are in those areas and help set them up with internships. I think for some of the students or the Cleveland, Cincinnati area, right? So I teach a class called audition and professional preparation. So that's and students usually take it in their junior year. And students usually go on an internship between their junior and senior year. Although some do it earlier, I think that's usually the time when students feel really comfortable taking that first jump into the big professional world. So working with our students individually and making sure they're finding the correct internships in the right areas that will, right? And it's all based on housing and what you want to do. But we want to make sure that by the time you graduate, you're comfortable going to the big city and auditioning for those jobs. So it starts with little internships over the summer, and we help place you and we help find them for you.
Okay, and we've got another question. Why should I choose this major at Marietta College? Why should I come to Marietta?
I think, we have a really dedicated and passionate faculty. And I think that our students are also wonderful. I've been at conservatory programs that are very dog eat dog, and our students really cheer for one another. Of course, there's always healthy competition, but I think that our students really support each other in a way that I haven't seen in other theater departments. So that's something that I'm very proud of them, and I think that's just part of the department that we create. And again, I think that's reiterating the strengths of coming from a small department, the amount of on-stage and practical experience that you will gain. And I think that experiential learning is so important, especially with the arts. That theory is wonderful, but experiential learning is really where it's at. And that's where you get your training, and that's where you feel comfortable moving on to take your next step. So I think that having a small program is actually really beneficial to the student. And I think that's why you should come here.
Okay, well, I'm going to just leave it open to see if there's any more questions. And while we're waiting, just to let you know, the series of webinars are going on from now until April 30th. Actually, there's another one later on tonight, but I would doubt that someone who's interested in theater is also looking at chemistry and biochemistry, but you never know. So that's tonight at 8 o'clock, but there's sessions throughout the rest of the month, and we end on April 30th with a parent-to-parent session. So prospective parents can ask current parents so anything they want, and then we end up the whole event with a student-to-student. So, okay, another question just popped in. Sorry, came in late. Can you talk about theater minor if you haven't already? And I don't think we got that specific. So there's
no. That's wonderful. Yes, we do have a theater minor, and I personally think it's the funnest minor on campus, right? Because I think all students have to take at least 2 art classes, right? To fulfill their general education. So I think for students who are interested in the arts, to get a minor in theater is wonderful. And I think we pair really well with a lot of other majors. Our minors, I think all minors take acting 1 and backstage experience. So a little bit of the on stage, a little bit of the behind stage, and then a few other classes, some theater history classes, things like that, and obviously helping out with production, and whether that's on stage or behind stage in the way, however you'd like. But I think our minor pairs really well. We have a few English majors who have theater minors right now, currently, some poli-sci majors, I think a psych major. And I think with the minor, you can really, because it's one of those, because you have your choice of electives there, it's one of those, you can take one of these 4 classes and one of these 4 classes and one of these 4 classes. I think students are really able to take the couple of classes that they that find interest in, whether they're more performance-based or behind-the-scenes based, and really round out their education. I think with a liberal arts education, which is what Marietta College is, it's so important to study outside of your box, right? To be a science person who gets to take an art class every once in a while, or vice versa. And I think it really strengthens. I love it when our non-majors come into our classes, because they have complete different perspectives and really attack problems and look at things in a different way. And so, yeah, yes, we definitely have a theater minor, and I definitely encourage you to join it or come play.
Okay. We'll let it open a little while longer to see if there's any more questions that are in. Right now, I don't have any. Just to let you know, if you do have questions after this event for admissions or anything else, just send admit@marietta.edu, and then someone is monitoring that, because we, for the most part, are working remotely. I am still coming into the office every day because I'm only a couple blocks off campus, so I just walk in. But that way, that's being monitored, and then we can get you out to the correct person wherever that might be. Students, the May 1st National Candidate Reply Date is coming up, and I know it's a little different this year because of the COVID-19, but you know, if you have any questions about that and you want to deposit, that's fine. If it's after May 1st, we're still accepting them. If someone asks to push back on a later date, it's no problem. We know it's so up in the air, and this is not something I don't think anybody could have prepared for. So just want to let you know that. And again, you know, these seminars are going on through the webinars through the end of the month of April. So I'll just leave it open for a couple more minutes if there's any more questions that come in. And then we'll wrap it up with, if there's anything that Cass wants to say that she didn't get asked and she thinks that the people here need to know. And again, we appreciate you taking your time tonight to join us and making this opportunity for people to learn more about the theater department as they're getting ready, because this was predominantly for seniors getting ready to make their college admissions decisions. Any other questions from anybody? Not having anything? Cass, how do you want to wrap this up then?
I think it's wonderful that students out there are still excited about going to college in the fall. So, and I can only imagine how difficult it is to wrap up your senior years in this way and to not be able to visit the colleges that you're interested in. So, I think it's wonderful that students are even logging on and asking questions and still kind of figuring this out in difficult times. I am also still very much working and going into my office. I'm not in my office right now, but I go in at least once a week. So if there are questions that pop up later, or if you ever want to talk, more specifically about any of the degrees or how a degree pairs with another degree, that's something that I can always do, pull up audit sheets of, I want to be a poli-sci / theater major, and then I can pull them both up and we can really look at, right, how many years would that take, and is that feasible, and what crosses over. So I can always look at something, in more depth and more specific. And I think that if anything, this COVID-19 has taught me why I do theater and love what I do. I every time I go on my laptop, I see another really inspirational post from an artist putting their art out there for the world, for to kind of keep us all from losing our minds while stuck in our homes. I will defend it's a noble passion and a noble art to study and something to do. And yeah, this was actually fun. So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining us tonight. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Stay safe and stay healthy. And again, any questions, admit@marietta.edu. Seniors, good luck as you finish up the school year. I know our governor just announced our students and elementary and high schools are not going back for the rest of this year, and each state is different, but good luck with that. And if there's any students that are juniors or earlier that you stumbled on this and joined us, keep us in mind as we're already recruiting the class of 2021. So seniors, congratulations. And one last thing, all of our students that are deposited on May 22nd for part of the Be Light campaign, our lights on our football field and our soccer field are going to be lit for an hour in your honor. And we will have pictures and look for it on our Instagram and our Facebook page. So again, thank you. Good luck as you're finishing up your senior year, and probably pretty for our students, good luck as they head into finals next week. And again, Cass, thank you so much for your time. Y'all have a great evening. And thank you again for joining. Bye.